Dr. Brown.
Hey.
You may have heard that last month our church did a extra prayer meetings, and I find myself praying constantly now. I'm seeing the bad fruit of the spiritual neglect that we as Christians have allowed over decades. You have a national ministry. What do you see on the national stage? Do you see a turning in America? Do you see a sort of revival, if that's the right word? What do you see nationally?
Yeah, thank you. And of course, I did hear about the prayer meetings, and so thrilled to hear about that rising spirit of prayer. Let me give you the negative and then the positive, because I want to emphasize the positive. Considering how messed up our society is, considering how compromised so much of the church is, you would think that there'd be a lot more prayer and a lot more desperation and a lot more crying out than what we currently see. And that's been grieving me for years, that the state of the nation is urgent, and yet the church doesn't seem urgent. That, just some of what I talked about tonight can be pretty jarring stuff, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Then you read my book, and that's a bigger tip of the iceberg. But it's a massive iceberg of demonic attack and sin and compromise in America today and in the church. So you would think that there would be more urgency in our midst. And in my view, in the years leading up to the Brownsville revival, I saw more urgency, more desperation, more heart cry. So that's been burdening me, because God responds to hunger and thirst. And if we're not crying out, there's not room for his visitation and room for his presence. On the flip side, on the positive side, something is happening. There is a stirring that's increasing. I've had more and more churches asking me to come and preach on revival with extended altar calls and people crying out to God. I was part of the Light the Fire Again conference with Dan Kalenda and other revival leaders in Pensacola in September. And the meetings lasted basically a whole week, better part of a week. And we had probably between 8,000 and 9,000 in the meetings, morning, afternoon, evening. And I said to Daniel, I said, you could go on another week or two or three and the people would keep coming. The hunger, the thirst was intense, the heart cry, and even seeing the Spirit moving afresh. So my hope is that the prayers that have been ascending for many, many years, with IHOP celebrating over 20 years of day and night prayer, with churches like yours increasing prayer, with the major events of prayer and fasting, that's having kind of a cumulative effect, and that a shift is at hand. Because look, this much we know, there is no solution for America in the White House or in the Senate or in our political system. However much someone can be used by God, or however much damage someone could do, the hope of America is not going to be found in the political realm. Politics plays a role, but it's going to be found in the church waking up. So something is happening. Something really is happening, and I'm encouraged by it. And I do believe there's a bit of a shift in the atmosphere. So now's the time to push forward more. I told people for decades, when you're going down a hill, riding your bike on a hill, pedal faster, because soon enough it's going to be straight, and soon enough you're going to be going up. So if there's a momentum, go with it. Give yourself to it. This could be the time for breakthrough. And hey, it could just start in your own church, your own region. Let God move. Let it happen.